lovely day. I hope nothing. Wait.
What the dog doing?
What? How old is Earth? Well, not like you care. But to understand how old Earth is, we must go back to the way back, further than the world wars, further than the unknown anime people. We must go far back, when even the sun wasn't born. So in today's video, we will be exploring the formation of our solar system and the formation of Earth, just for me to prove you that Earth is pretty dang old. The formation of the solar system happened approximately 4.5 billion years ago. Now, I don't know how this number was made up, but that doesn't matter. Only the age of Earth does. That's what this video is about. The solar system at the time was just a space filled with interstellar gas, and that huge group of gas was called a nebula. The nebula will later experience shock from another exploding star, which will cause gravitational grasp to happen. This is when everything in the solar system starts coming together in the form of gravity. Now, after a couple of million years, a star is formed by the gases that were coming together in a group. However, the heavier elements that were less affected by the gravitational pull of the star will later clump together, forming the first protoplanets. The early Earth was among these few protoplanets and was created through planetary accretion, when dust particles collide and combine to make a planet. This planet at the time was hot, filled with molten, and the atmosphere was way too toxic to live in. The Earth stayed like this temporarily, and it continued to grow, occasionally by heavy bombardment and random molecules floating in space. This is until the celestial body called Theia unexpectedly crashed into Earth, launching particles into space. These planets will eventually combine, and the remaining particles that were in space will accrete together to form the Moon. So, how does this relate to the age of Earth? Well, it's pretty complicated. That brings us to absolute dating, the process of dating something absolutely. To radioactively date something, you must need a rock to go through a process of radioactive decay. In radioactive decay, radioactive molecules will lose molecules or gain electrons to become a more stable particle. Scientists, somehow, have already discovered the time it takes for a certain radioactive molecule to decay, meaning that each different radioactive molecules have their own unique decaying time. For example, the most common radioactive material used today is uranium-238, which takes a whopping 4.5 billion years to decay into its daughter isotope, lead. Now, the rate it decays in isn't as simple as 1, 2, 3, but it is rather in a half-life system. The half-life system means that the total amount of radioactive material in a thing halves in a certain amount of time. Notice how uranium-235's contents halves at 700 million years. So that is the half-life of uranium. But also notice that lead increases at the same rate while it decreases. This is because lead is its daughter isotope, or what it turns into. With radioactive dating in mind, now we can use it. Luckily for us, the oldest zinc crystal was discovered in Australia. So the scientists would take the zinc crystal, calculate the amount of daughter isotopes and parent isotopes just to find out that the crystal has a huge 4.4 billion years old. And at last, victory was celebrated. Every hard-working scientist that had contributed to the work of the Earth's age have had their dream fulfilled. Now they can return home and spend time with their family, which they have not yet seen in 30 years, until one scientist had to say, actually, this isn't accurate. What? And so they did it again. They started to think broader, wider. For example, the Earth is a place of life. In a place of life, you have everything. You have water, weather, animals. In conclusion, the Earth is constantly changing, meaning that the oldest zinc that we had probably ran into some inconveniences that happened on Earth. Some examples are water that can change and mix the radioactive material. You have tectonic plates, which in the rock cycle absolutely obliterates, decimate, and reset the rocks that were already decaying. So now we are in the steep hole. How are we supposed to understand the age of Earth when the rocks are constantly being recycled? Well, do you remember what I mentioned in the start of the video? The formation of the solar system, the formation of the Earth, and finally Theia? When Theia crashed into Earth, it created the moon. And because it crashed into Earth, it took mainly the crust of the Earth and flung them into outer space. Do you see where I'm getting at? The moon's age is practically the same as the Earth. So that was it. And so, the scientists got a hold of this magnificent rock. Throughout the video, I realized something. That this video is insanely boring. But I also realized that basically anything is possible. When we think radiation, we generally think of bombs and mutations. But we don't hear about it being used for the good. So me hearing it being used for research purposes gives me the confidence to say that radiation shouldn't be discriminated upon. It is something that naturally occurs since it helped with the formation of the solar system, the formation of the sun, and the formation of the earth. All in all, radiation should not be feared upon. However, I yet wonder, how old are living beings?